So we'll go ahead and say it. Hi you, hello, hola, and konnichiwa. You guys leave comments down below in the live chat. How are you doing tonight? I hope amazing since it's Monday. We all know that Mondays kind of can be a little stinky. So as I left earlier on my Twitter, it's like a mountain of problems. Let's see. All right, let me get in here and get into the live chat and say hello. So far in the live chat, we have, let's go up here. We've got the Sleeping Wendigo, Todd, Alyssa. Let's see, keep scrolling. I know there's more in here. Midnight Wolf, The Boggs Official, Evil Outcast. I'm probably missing more, but I can't scroll through all these chats to say hello. So I'm just going to give a big hello to you. Oh, okay. All right, mods, I ask all of you to mount up and be prepared because you never know what's going to come into the live chat. Like I said, tonight we're going to try something a little new. I am not going to be in front of the camera. You're going to get a background, and we're going to go into it. We're also going to go back to the traditional reading of scary stories. When I first started my channel, I used a totally different voice, and that is what we're going to go back to because I miss it, I liked it, and most everybody that watched the channel liked it as well. So, this is just my normal voice. I haven't started reading, so we will not have that yet. You guys have two choices. I can read 2-sentence horror stories, or I can read different short stories. It's up to you. You get a voice, you get a say, and you can tell me what you want. Boggs, I think you need to call the local police because if the teacher's touching you, there's nothing I can do because I'm in Alabama. So, I'm going to give it a couple minutes for you guys to tell me what you want. 2-sentence horror stories or short horror stories. Either way, it is up to you guys. Or I can mix and match. Give you 2-sentence horror stories or back and forth. 2-sentence short story. 2-sentence short story. I will have to say the short stories might be a little more interesting, but it takes a little bit more out of me than the 2-sentence horror stories. But I can do both. Let's see. While I wait for you guys to give me your opinion and your ideas, I'll go ahead and say it. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and I believe PayPal. You can find me under Lilies Nation. I did not leave a link for you guys for the PayPal because I don't know. I feel weird always asking you guys to send money, so it is up to you. Whatever you feel, whatever you need is good with me. So, like I said, you guys can find me under Lilies Nation. And when I'm not here on YouTube, I am usually on TikTok. And TikTok's a little bit funnier than scary, but we're fixing to introduce some scary to TikTok as well. So far, I keep hearing people say mix and match. Bog said, okay, do both. General Zod said mix and match. Alyssa said do both. And Aisha says hello, and I say hello to you. So I think we're going to mix and match. We're going to start off, I think... Now, guys, I'm going to have to warn you. I will not be able to see the chat when I start reading, so... Anyway. So here we go. Alright, and Leon, I'm not giving any secrets away. You just have to guess what I'm doing and go with it. Hey, at least I'm trying to give you something new and something exciting because it was either that. It's pouring down rain outside, so if I try to light a fire right now, it's just going to be us standing in the rain looking sad and pathetic. So we're just not doing that. Let's see. I don't know, Boggs. I'll let you tell me what the C stands for. Hey, Leon, how are you doing? Hey, Sissy, how are you doing? Now, as far as I know, the stories that I'm going to read tonight should be suitable for all ages. But again, I've not read all these stories. They were sent to me, and I don't know. We're going to try for it. We're going to try and see what we got. If I stop in the middle of the story, it's usually because it's not appropriate for all ages. And I have a mixture of ages on the channel, so I'm sorry if that happens. I can always do a video later with the stories that, you know, that might be too much for a younger audience. Again, when I start reading, I will not be able to read the live chat, so you guys bear with me if I don't acknowledge you or say hi. Mods, I might need your help with that one to let them to let them know why I'm not on here. I'm probably going to start with here. I'm going to warm up my vocals, and we're going to start with the 2-sentence horror stories. Some of these you probably have heard because I did not go through and cipher them out. So if you've heard them, bear with me. I'm just warming up right now, okay? All right, guys, here we go. There's a picture in my phone of me sleeping, but I live alone. Number 2, sibling horror dilemma. My sister says that mommy killed her. Mommy says that I don't have a sister. Number 3, a scary story. You hear your mom calling you into the kitchen. As you're heading down the stairs, you hear her whisper from the closet saying, "Don't go in there. Don't go. I heard it too." Number 4, a spooky visitor. The last thing I saw was my alarm clock flashing 12:07 before she pushed her long, rotting nails through my chest, her other hand muffling my screams. I sat bolt upright, relieved it was only a dream. But as I saw my alarm clock read 12:06, I heard my closet door creak open. Number 5, perks of cremation. I can't move, breathe, speak, or hear, and it's so dark all the time. If I knew it would be this lonely, I would have been cremated instead. Number 6, creepy story. I woke to the sound of a baby monitor crackling with a voice comforting my firstborn child. As I adjusted in a new position, my arm brushed against my wife, sleeping next to me. Now I have to go ahead and add right there for that one. As a parent, that is scary. Number 7, 2-sentence horror story? Oh gosh. After struggling desperately to move any part of his paralytic body, just to alert the doctors that he was conscious before they made the first incision, he was relieved to see that one of the nurses had noticed his pupils dilating from the bright light. She leaned in close and said, in a whisper that tickled his ear, "You think we don't know you're awake?" Oh, then I wonder why I don't want to have surgery. Number 8, afterlife horrors. My daughter won't stop crying and screaming in the middle of the night. I visit her grave and ask her to stop, but it doesn't seem to help. Number 9, short, scary story. I wake up and everything feels wrong. It's too quiet outside. I look out the window and see everyone standing still, looking at my house. Number 10, a touch from the other side. The doctors told the amputee he might experience a phantom limb from time to time. Nobody prepared him for the moments, though, when he felt cold fingers brush across his phantom hand. Dang. Number 11, pet horror story. Growing up with cats and dogs, I got used to the sound of scratching at my door while I slept. Now that I live alone, it's much more unsettling. Number 12. Again, a two-sentence horror story. Working the night shift alone tonight. I'm working the night shift alone tonight. There's a face in the cellar staring at the security camera. What do I do? Number 13. Okay, two-sentence horror story? I woke up to hear knocking on the glass. At first, I thought it was the window until I heard it come from the mirror again. Number 14. After working a hard day, I come home to see my girlfriend cradling our child. I didn't know which was more frightening, seeing my dead girlfriend and stillborn child, or knowing that someone broke into my apartment to place them there. Number 15. She asked why I was breathing so heavily. I wasn't. Number 16. They celebrated the first successful cryogenic freezing. He had no way of letting them know he was still conscious. Number 17. I can't sleep, she whispered, crawling into bed with me. I woke up cold, clutching the dress she was buried in. Number 18. You know that weird full body twitch you get sometimes when you're falling asleep? If there was a camera pointed at you and you saw what it captured at that moment, you'd never sleep again. Number 19. The grinning face stared at me from the darkness beyond my bedroom window. I live on the 14th floor. Number 20. Sleep did not come to me easily that night in the cabin in the woods, for the portraits on the wall only portrayed the deformed, the decrepit, and the dead. Sleep has never come easy for me ever again. For when I wake, I found no portraits, only windows. Number 21. I always thought my cat had a staring problem. She always seemed to fixate on my face. Until one day when I realized that she was always looking just behind me. Number 22. There's nothing like the laughter of a baby. Unless it's 1 a.m. and you're home alone. Number 23. After so many years living alone in this large house, I came to a startling revelation. In this time, I had closed far more doors than I had opened. Number 24. It's been watching me for hours now. Sometimes I catch glimpses of its reflection on the computer screen, but I dare not turn around. Don't start, Boggs. Don't start. There's nothing behind me. Number 25. Put back the mirrors. We miss watching you. Hey, don't touch the chicken nuggies. Yes, I can see some of you guys' comments every once in a while. Number 26. You stupid! I cried as he tied me to the rails. Don't you know this line has been abandoned for years? Of course I know, he said, walking away. No one comes here at all. Okay, guys, we're going to take a break for a second, and I'm going to read the chat, because I feel like I've been gone too long from the chat. Thank you for the like, Aisha. I'm glad so far you guys think the stories are creepy, and no spider talk tonight, Boggs. I'm trying to. I got some water, but I forgot to bring something to, some lozenges or whatever, because this is taking a lot out of my throat. It's not used to it anymore. Yes, I do need some coffee. Stat! Coffee! Give me monster coffee now, Boggs. Let's see. Hey, nobody's behind me. Guys, quit that. I keep checking behind me. I keep hearing thuds too, so stop it. And to the people that are in the room next to me that are watching, you're really, really loud. So please stop thumping the walls, scaring me. Awesome, Todd. I'm glad you're enjoying this. Alyssa, that's not funny. I'm glad to hear that you're feeling better, Todd. I was going to ask earlier, and I guess it just kind of, I slipped my mind. All right, we're going to do some more two-sentence horror stories, and then we're going to get into the short stories before my voice decides that it can't take no more. Because, like, I'm going to be really honest. This is very hard on my throat tonight because I am so out of practice. My throat is like a muscle, and it has not been flexed for quite some time. So this is actually really, really awesome for me. All right. Let's see. Where were we? Number 27. They delivered the mannequins and the bubble wrap. From the main room, I began to hear popping. Okay? I used to enjoy bubble wrap. Don't enjoy it now. Quit stealing the nuggies, people. You know I get violent when you take my nuggies. Number 28. The operation wasn't successful in the traditional sense, since my sight didn't return, but it left me with the ability to distinguish heat signatures at least. 3 weeks have passed, and I'm still not sure how to politely ask my best friend why he's room temperature. Ooh, I don't think I want to know. Number 29. When I finally grabbed her in the darkness, I swarmed back to the surface. Oh, wait. This person can't spell and I can't read. Here we go. Number 29. When I finally grabbed her in the darkness, I swam back to the surface. It never occurred to me how fast the ice could freeze over. Number 30. You start to drift off into a comfortable sleep when you hear your name being whispered. But then you remember you live alone. Number 31. You get home, tired after a long day's work and ready for a relaxing night alone. You reach for the light switch, but another hand is already there. Number 32. Don't be scared of the monsters. Just look for them. Look to your left, look to your right, under your bed and behind your dresser, in your closet, but never, ever look up. She hates being seen. Ooh, gosh, I like that one. I'm screenshotting that one. Sorry, just had to. Number 33. I never go to sleep, but I keep waking up. Number 34. He even reads over my letters to make sure I spelled everything perfectly, although my capitalization isn't excellent yet. Okay, I don't get that one, but maybe you guys will get it and explain to me in the chat. I didn't get that one. Number 35. My grandmother told me that it was a gift to see the angel of death in front of people's houses, to know that he'd be collecting someone there soon. I thought it was a gift too, up until the day I began to see it in front of my house. Oh, and then there's an alternate to this one. Somebody else wrote, stop stealing the chicken nuggets. There's an alternate to that story. I'm going to read the alternates. It's similar, but the last line is different. My grandmother told me that it was a gift to see the angel of death in front of people's houses, to know that he'd be collecting someone there very soon. I thought it was a gift too, up until the day I began to see it in front of every house. Number 36. I kiss my wife and daughter goodnight before I go to sleep. When I wake up, I'm in a padded room and the nurses tell me it was just a dream. Yes? Ask Alyssa to get you a glass of water, okay? I'm going to take an intermission here in a minute. Number 37. When next you are completely alone, imagine you are listening to a sound of some kind. When that sound seems to stop, you'll know that you've been noticed. Ooh, creepy. Number 38. The longer I wore it, the more it grew on me. She had such pretty skin. Ew. Icky. It makes me think of Silence of the Lambs. Number 39. Nighttime swimming is one of the most Nighttime swimming is one of the most... Woo, this one's hard. Hold on. Nighttime swimming is one of the benefits of... Okay, sorry, here we go. Nighttime swimming is one of the benefits of working at the public pool. One night after everyone left, I was wading in the deep end and felt a hand grab my ankle. Number 40. I wish I could remember who these people are. They tell me I have Alzheimer's. Well, that's just not funny or scary. It's just sad. Number 41. She wondered why she was casting two shadows. After all, there was only a single light bulb. Number 42. The last man on earth sat alone in a room. There was a knock at the door. Number 43. Ready to settle down for the evening, I put my headphones on. The whispering coming from them startled me. They were not plugged in. Number 44. Neatly, I laid across my dining room table. I found a dull kitchen knife, a torn, crusty bag, and a flip video camera, which seemed to be recording. I own none of these items. Dexter. Number 45. The dead are watching us now. That's the good news. Number 46. As he woke up once again in the same dormless room, his body covered in the accumulated blood and sweat from the previous nights, he noticed a gun in the corner, which he grabbed up and pointed at his own temple. Soon he would reunite with his wife and daughter with a merciful bang. But as he pulled the trigger, he was greeted only by a cold metallic click. Number 47. The heart attack came and went, knocking Mike into an unconsciousness. And as he awoke, he could hear the graveside service around him. Somehow the casket was translucent to him, and he recognized some of his friends. But his body would not move, and he realized with terror what death really was. Number 48. I was having a pleasant dream when what sounded like hammering woke me. After that, I could barely hear the muffled sound of dirt covering the coffin over my own screams. Number 49. Attending his funeral today was really scary. It might have been the constant muffled screams I heard, or the worry of someone noticing the dirt on my hands. And lastly, number 50. You wake up. She doesn't. Alright guys, what I'm going to do right now is I just read 50 two-sentence horror stories. I'm sure a lot of them have been heard before, but they're so good we have to read them again. I'm going to take a quick 1-minute break because I need to go check on something and to get me some gummies to soothe my sore throat. I will be back in 1 minute, so just hold your taters and talk amongst yourselves. Don't stomp on the wall. Alright guys, I am back. I'm going to real quickly catch up on what's going on in the chat. And then we're going to head into short stories. So let's see what I have missed in the live chat. I can't remember where I last left off. Reading. Sock Goblin, you're not behind me. You're under the chair. I didn't think to check under the chair. Great. You guys are having oh my gosh, Todd, that was like the best compliment, a female Vincent Price. That's awesome. Thank you. That just like made my night. You guys stop stealing the chicken nuggies. It's freaking me out. I'm gonna like start slapping people and say, give me the nuggies. I don't know. Don't make me think of Batman right now, okay? Chicken nuggies. Stop stealing the chicken nuggies. Oh, Evil, I hope you're back in the chat. You guys are crazy about the nuggies. I thought I was a weirdo for nuggies. Wendigo, when it comes to 2 Sentence Horror Stories, most all of us have recycled the same 2 Sentence Horror Stories because they're such classics that we all just, we keep reading them. Because I'm pretty sure I've read like half of these before, but... Alright, I'm not opening the door. You guys aren't freaking me out. Stop it! Alright, guys. You guys ready for more stories, or do you want to have a little chit-chat for a little bit? I am here for what you guys want, because I'm enjoying this. I haven't done this for so long. Yes? Okay. Hold on a second, guys. We have another drama. Oh my god. Come on. What's up?
Hi, everyone.
Go. Alright, I noticed there's a delay in the video because I hear it being played in the other room. So that kind of helps me out. I'm sorry for the distractions. Thank you, Todd, for telling me I'm doing a great job. I am so out of practice. I feel bad. I should not be this out of practice reading stories. But it's like riding a bicycle. Once you've done it, you can always do it again. Just got to get back on the bike and keep going. Alright, I encourage everyone to sit down by the fire. Get comfy, because that's what I'm doing. Grab your favorite drink. And I'm fixing to get back into reading some more stories. I was trying to give a second because there were several people that said that they would be right back. And I didn't want to start reading the bigger stories because I think it was Evil and somebody else said that they wanted longer stories. And they're the ones that left the chat. So, I don't know if they're still listening. Or if they're just not in the chat right now. So, I may just go on because I don't want to drag the live stream out. Because I'm getting my voice back in here. What is it, Boggs? Question mark, question mark. What's wrong? Is my randomness eluding you? Which is probably bouncing. What's bouncing? The camera's completely still. I'm not bouncing either. Are you trying to freak me out again? Oh, Evil, what you eating for dinner? Look at what? Boggs, stop it. Stop freaking me out. I'm sitting in a dark room. I'm not falling for it. Real quickly, has anybody heard from Meat Locker, aka Darkest Side, recently? Because if you have or know how to get a hold of him, please message that butthole and tell him that we're looking for him. That he's missing in action and that we're all fixing to call 911 on him. Oh my gosh, I had bacon cheeseburgers last night, and tonight, because we had doctor's appointments, I stopped and cheated and got crystals. I'm pretty sure my acid reflux and gallbladder is going to tell me about it later. Alright guys, I'm going to get back into reading. I guess I'm kind of holding off because these stories are much longer and they take a lot more. And I guess I'm a little more nervous about it. More chances for me to stall him. And some of these stories I have read, but I've read them I read them so long ago. Like, I just read them to prepare myself to read on live stream, but never, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Is it the one, I'm trying to think, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. It's like, talking about, actually, I think it's more like a kid story. Like, I remember reading it when I was in school. Is it the one, talking about, like, my toe, somebody stole my toe, or, where the spider bites the girl in the cheek and the spiders hatch out of her cheek? Is that the one you're talking about, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark? Because, if that's what you're talking about, Todd, I read those as a kid. I love them. I've done a couple on the channel, but a lot of people didn't seem to be completely interested in them. So I just stopped reading them. I didn't think anybody would cared. What the heck is that? What is that emoji? Is that like Pac-Man chasing me? I love those stories, Todd. I have thought about, I mean, what I could do is the next live stream, if you guys are interested, I could read Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Like, just pick out 5 and, like, kind of do like a mix-up, you know, like, do some 2-sentence horror stories, do some short horror stories, and then do some Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, because I believe I own the books. So if you guys are interested, I can mix it up. I'm going to try to push for this only to be an hour live stream, but I may push for an hour and 30 minutes, because I got to work tomorrow. I worked today, and I worked yesterday, and I work tomorrow. And I'm so tired. But I'm enjoying this. So, okay. I'm going to shut up. I'm going to shut up. I'm going to open up my browser, because I got to find it again. I have like 20 browsing sites up to read stories, so just bear with me because I gotta find it again. Because I had a specific thing I wanted to read tonight, but I'm not seeing the browser I had open for it earlier. Which wouldn't shock me at this point, that somehow I lost it. Because it was some really great stories I wanted to read tonight. Something told me I should have just went ahead and read the short horror stories first, because this was going to happen. Like I said, just bear with me. I'm going to find it. Was it this one? Oh, great. I guess I lost the page. Technical difficulty, just like I said, bear with me. I knew this was going to happen. Wait, maybe I found, nope, I didn't find it. Oh, yes, I did find it. Okay, good, guys, we're okay. I found the stories. Now, this one, I'm going to be honest with you, I prepared about 6 months ago. So I wrote an introduction to it and wrote some stories. and put some stories together from the internet. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to go into it, and I hope you guys like it. Nerves are getting to me. Just hold on. The first story on our list is entitled The Limping Woman. It's a straightforward urban legend everyone can relate to, because everyone's town, city, suburb, fortress, or commune has some version of the haunted stretch of road. So many devil roads, cursed highways, and Satanist driveways exist across the U.S. that you could probably make a cross-country road trip from only ghost streets. But don't let their prevalence distract you from just how scary these roads can actually be. And the Limping Woman reminds us these stories exist because they work. You don't have to be crazy original, just an effective storyteller. So, here we go. You hear the uneven footsteps at first. Drag, click, drag, click. That's how you know she's behind you. The heel is broken off of her left shoe, and she drags it across the ground with every step. A sharp contrast to the steady click of her still intact pump. "Help me," she whispers. It's an urgent anguish plea. "Please, I'm hurt. Help me." Don't turn around. That's when she gets you. Don't run. She'll still get you anyway. But this time, she's going to make it hurt. At least that's the rumor anyway. Every small town has at least one, a local urban legend that everyone knows and swears is completely true. Because their sister's best friend's cousin's neighbor's grandson knew a fella who actually encountered it. Ours was the Limping Woman, so named for her aforementioned distinct gait. It was said that she was a teacher at the elementary school some decades before, young, beautiful, and the victim of a terrible murder. She had been walking home to the house she shared with her parents one night after school when she realized she was being followed. She sped up, so did her pursuer, until both were running down this dark country lane with only open farmland on either side. Her heel broke and her ankle snapped. She fell and her pursuer became her murderer. It was a slow, torturous, unfair, and left her beaten and covered in stab wounds. And when the killer was done, he just left her to bleed out beside the road. She wasn't found until the next morning, and by then, all anyone could do was search for the person responsible. While some believe the man was caught and dealt with not long after, others think he or she is still at large, and the Limping Woman, as the victim came to be known, won't rest until her killer is caught. I was always skeptical at the best of the story. I passed the spot where she was supposed to appear 100 times without incident, as did everyone else I knew. If a murderous ghost lived there, I was pretty sure I'd have seen her by now. I said as much to my friend Steffi when she brought up that a friend of a friend of a friend had met the Limping Woman during a lunch school one day. "It's true! She was out on the old highway a couple nights ago. I saw her," Steffi insisted stubbornly over her sandwiches. "If she actually saw her, wouldn't she be dead?" I asked. "I thought you weren't supposed to turn around." "Heard her, whatever. You know what I mean, Rinna." "Sure," I said with a roll of my eyes. It's always frustrated Steffi that I didn't share her willingness to believe in the unbelievable. "So how did she get away?" "She said the words, duh." Oh, yeah, right. The woman's last words. Last words we all somehow know without ever having been caught. The one person who would have heard them. We know them because the real killer has never been caught. He told people who told other people, and so forth and so on, Steffi. And we all just magically knew to use them words off so we wouldn't be killed. I finished for her. Steffi frowned. She loved all things spooky and supernatural, and had spent a lot of time researching our local legends, especially the Limping Woman. It's not magic. It's not magic. It just reminds her of her own mother, and she gets distracted by her grief, and it leaves her alone. Oh, I think I read that wrong, sorry. It's not magic. It just reminds her of her own mother, and she gets distracted by her grief, and she'll leave you alone. Oh, okay, I said, hoping that would be enough to put an end to the topic. It was an argument neither of us would win, and I didn't feel like getting into it again, over whether or not a ghost was real. At 15, it was starting to feel silly now. Steffi, however, wasn't going to let me off so easily. They say she remains because they got the wrong guy, and she's angry about it. Like everyone knew, but no one cared, because they wanted to blame someone. Don't you feel at least a little bit bad for her? She's still waiting for justice after all this time. Steffi, she only goes after people who don't believe in her, you know. I didn't like the way Steffi said that. Like she had an idea forming that I wouldn't approve of. And I shook my head. Whatever it is, no. We could go out there, out to the spot she haunts. No, don't be dumb, I said. You don't believe anyway, so what's the big deal? I've walked past there a lot, okay? Nothing's ever happened. Have you gone after dark? Steffi had started to smile. No, but so what? That's when she's active. Going in the day doesn't count. That is dumb, I said. We'll go tonight. Every argument I had was met with the questions of whether I was too afraid and Steffi mocking me for being a chicken. She kept it up for the rest of lunch, through our shared science class, and then passed me notes in the hallway between classes after that. By the time the final bell rang, she had worn me down. But not because I believe she's there. I made sure she knew that. I'm just going so you'll shut up. The sun set just after 5 that evening. At 7, we met up on the bikes in front of our neighborhood. Her parents thought she was going to do a project at my house, and my parents thought I was at hers doing the exact same thing. We had exactly 2 hours to ride out to the farm where the Limping Woman was said to haunt and get back before they started to trading phone calls. We pedaled hard and fast, leaving behind the glow from windows and street lamps, until darkness swallowed up the world around us. With only moonlight to guide us, we wove our way across town and passed into the outskirts, where the insects were louder and the stars brighter, and the safety that came from feeling like you were surrounded by other people fell away. It was hard not feeling entirely exposed on that old road, where flat fields rolled off into distance on either side of you. There was an occasional barn or farmhouse set a ways off down long, dusty drives, but otherwise, it really was just us and our bikes in the night. Up ahead, Steffi said from behind me. See the cross? That's the marker for her. We skid to a stop a few yards away from it and exchanged a glance, almost lost in the shadows. Scared? She asked, breathless and with excitement. No, I said. It was an honest enough answer. I was nervous, sure. But who wouldn't be when you're outside after dark in the middle of nowhere? Remember, if you turn around, she gets you. If you try to run, she makes it worse. Just stand still when she's close by and say the words. Steffi spoke so seriously that I had to stifle a laugh. It was ridiculous. I kept trying to tell her that. All the butterflies stirring in my stomach, but it didn't do much good. We climbed off the bikes and sat them on their kickstands. Steffi groped her about for her hand and entwined her fingers with mine. She was shaking. Ready? Let's just get this over with, I replied. We walked up to where the cross was placed and paused. Steffi squeezed my hand and took in a slow, shuddering breath. Her fear was starting to have an effect on me, quickening my heartbeat. But it squared my shoulders and I clenched my jaw and I took a step forward. We crept along the roadside, careful to keep our eyes pointed straight ahead. Steffi kept reminding me in a trembling whisper that looking anywhere else could lead to trouble. A minute or two passed, and it couldn't have been longer despite feeling like it, and nothing seemed to happen. My fear began to ebb, replaced with an immensely relieved giddiness that I had been right, and almost turned to Steffi to say, "I told you so!" And then I realized how quiet it was. All the insects that had been singing loudly when we had arrived had gone silent. There was no distant calls from the night birds, no breeze passing over us, nothing, just the sound of her own breathing. To my surprise, Steffi sighed, disappointed. I wondered if she realized how quiet everything had become. How could she not feel how claustrophobic it had become out here? In this open road, how closed off we were in the dark and the silence. I wanted to ask her, but the question was like a knot in my throat that I couldn't untangle. Behind us, grass rustled, followed by a crunch of loose gravel underfoot. Like someone was pulling themselves slowly out of the field and into the road. Drag, click, drag, click. Every hair on my body stood up at once. Rena? I hadn't realized that my grip on Steffi's hand had tightened so much. I could feel her eyes on me, but I couldn't bring myself to look at her. From somewhere over my shoulder, a woman started to sob softly. "Help me," she cried plaintively. "Rena," Steffi said again. She's coming," I managed to whisper. Instead of being scared, Steffi snorted really funny. "I get it, okay? The Limping Woman's just made up. I'm convinced now you don't have to rub it in." Drag, click, drag, click. The unmistakable sound of someone inching toward us, slowly, painfully, crying out with each step. "Please," she begged. "I'm hurting and he's still out there." "Steffi," I hissed, tears burning my eyes. "She's coming." There must have been something in my voice, a tightness that only true terror could cause, that convinced my friend that I wasn't just pretending. She grabbed my forearm with her other hand and clutched it under her nails and digging it into my skin. "She only goes after people who don't believe," Steffi said. "That must be why." "What do I do?" I begged my mind in white and blank. My entire body was screaming to run, to get away from the thing that was getting closer and closer, but Steffi's firm grasp on my mounting dread held me in place. "Please," the Limping Woman sobbed. "Turn around. Help me." "The words," Steffi said hurriedly. "You have to say the words when she's right behind you." "What words?" I wanted to scream, but I couldn't speak or think. I could only hear her. Drag, click, drag, click. The legend said you'd hear her uneven footsteps and be forced to listen to her pleas, but no one ever mentioned the smell. The stench of rot and earth and blood oozed through the air, slowly surrounding me and wrapping itself all around me like tentacles, smothering me. I gagged and pressed my free hand over my mouth and shook my head violently, trying to clear it. trying to make sense of things. Steffi was jerking my arm and saying something to me over and over again, but I could barely hear her over the limping woman's cries. The smell was getting stronger, making my stomach pinch and heave until I thought I'd be sick. I leaned heavily on Steffi, and she pulled me close so that her lips were beside my ear. Through the veil of panic and nausea, I heard her scream, "Say the words!" Drag, click, drag, click. The limping woman was so close behind us now that I could feel the chill radiating off of her. The words, I thought. I had to say the words. It just reminds her of her own mother, and she gets distracted by her grief and she leaves you alone. I heard Steffi's voice from the previous day echo in my head. Her mother. The words remind her of her mother. The limping woman's last words. Please. Bile rose in the back of my throat. My mother's waiting for me. The footsteps stopped and were replaced by a high-pitched, heart-wrenching keen. From somewhere off in the night, a dog started to howl. Insects began to sing again. The wind whistled across the field. Sounds of normalcy, of life. The limping woman continued to screech while I found my legs again, and with Steffi in tow, we tore back to the bikes. I never once looked up from the ground, and only thing I saw as we darted by the pair was a pair of feet in torn stockings and pumps, the heel of one of which was missing. We didn't stop riding until we made it back to my lawn, and when we got there, I raced the bushes on the side of the house and I vomited. Steffi claims she didn't hear or see anything that night, but she believes that I did. She believes I encountered the limping woman. I tried to come up with some kind of rationalization for it, like power of suggestion or something. But when I think back to those footsteps and those sobs and that final scream, I know that there's only one explanation. And I know now. I too believe in the limping woman. And that is the end of the first story. I'm going to head to the chat and see what you guys are saying. I'm so behind, oh my gosh. Boggs, I probably will this year go to a haunted house and film, but I will have to go with somebody because I'm a chicken. So, like this story, I'm kind of a skeptic, but I don't want to do it alone. Oh my gosh, you serious, Midnight? That the school that is built over a town or cemetery or something like that? I must investigate. Da, 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 charging my attack. Oh, Outrum, hey. I am not a dwarf, Boggs. That's just highly offensive. Because I'm short doesn't mean I'm a dwarf. Sounds like my Nana. Oh my gosh, evil. Yeah, you might have Boggs dated her. Thank you, evil. I need somebody to go with me. Midnight, you can go too. The more the merrier. I'm gonna have to look it up, Midnight, because that is so interesting that I might be able to do a live stream about it. Or do it live because I can tape at the school and then do a stream there. Ooh, dun dun dun, charging my attack. Thank you, Todd, for getting me that information. I am very interested. Boggs, stop laughing at me. It's not funny. You're gonna hurt my little feelings. I'm short. I can't help that I'm short. But I'm not a midgie, okay? Hey, plus I always heard guys like short girls, so stop making fun of me. Yes, I think I will do something live. I think I'm going to look up about the school and maybe do something live, like on a Saturday when there's nobody at the school, and kind of just do my thing. Well, I'm shorter than most, and you're almost taller than me, Midnight. I'm kind of a midgie. Kind of, not too short. I'm just playing around. I have no shorter people than that. My mom's shorter than me, so hey. So guys, what did you think about that story? I actually really liked that story. As soon as I started reading, I didn't even like pause. I just started reading. That's for me to know it's a good story. It's when I am so into it that I can't stop. So, thought that would actually be interesting. I'm hoping to gather up money in the next year to go investigating. Because whether Darkest Side wants to do it or not, I do. So, fingers crossed that maybe in the next year I can get money together and maybe start traveling. Maybe start off like just in Alabama. And then like there's a place over in Georgia. I think it's over close to Savannah, Georgia. It, oh my gosh, I'm blanking what it's called. It's this old abandoned place. I did a video on it, but I ended up having a copyright strike and lost the whole video. And it was so interesting. And I cannot think about, give me a second. I will have to Google it now. Because I, for some reason, can't leave alone. If I can't remember something, I have to Google it. But I think it's, Murder House in Savannah, Georgia. Mercer House. I'm not looking for the Mercer House. Okay, let's just try Georgia. And guys, if you hear a loud TV in the background, I just got Disney Plus today. And my kids will probably not stay up till... Corpsewood Manor, that's what it is. It's in Somerville, Georgia. It's literally maybe 30 to 40 minutes from where I live. And I did a video on it. And it got like over, I think 100K views. And some more on copyright claim copyright struck it. And I lost the whole video. And I just not have been able to bring myself to go back and do a Corpsewood Manor video again. But I would love to do a Corpsewood Manor video where I actually drive there and do it like a found footage film. So, I mean, this is stuff that I want to do. Start off with close to things at home. Because there's a place in Huntsville. There's a place in Birmingham. Now there's a place that's like 10 minutes from here. There are so many places close to where I live that I would like to start with. And maybe as it goes, maybe donations can roll in. Or the channel can pick up and YouTube will actually start paying me better. And take that money and actually start traveling. So that's something I would like to do. Whether or not it's in the cards or not, we shall see. Why do I need to stick my thumb out? Did I get in the way of the video? Sorry. Sorry. Savannah actually has the Mercer House. I would love to just have the excuse to go to Savannah, period. So, I would love to do that one. So far, I got like, there's a haunted children's cemetery in Huntsville. There is, I believe in Scottsboro, Alabama, there is a place called The Haunted. And different times of the year, they do different themes. And I heard it is like flippin' scary. So that's something I mean, if you guys are interested in that, then I may try to see if I can get money together and do these things. So like there's a place in Huntsville, there's a place 10 minutes from here. I believe this is the really cool one, is the hospital that I was born in is abandoned. And they're thinking about tearing it down, and they say it is haunted. And it's literally 15 minutes from where I live. So, I mean, there's so many places that I would love to do, but I'm such a chicken, I don't want to do it by myself. And, Lord No-Nose, which you guys know is Voldemort, aka my ex, was supposed to do this with me, but told me I was immature and childish. So, never got to do it, and it's on my list of wanting to do. I've always wanted to travel, and the places I've got to travel to has been amazing for me. So, I'm really, really interested in it, so... Nathani's Bridge. You're right, Midnight. See, like Midnight, me and Midnight are from the same area. So, I don't know what you, I know what you mean. I don't think that's how you spell it, but I don't know how to spell it either, so we'll just go with it. Well, if Meat Walker, aka Darkest Side, doesn't want to do it or is not interested in this anymore, I would love to do this. Evil, I would like to do it, but what's bad is I don't know how we're going to be able to because we live like 11 hours from each other, so it's complicated. Like I said, it's going to take money and time, and I have no patience. Okay, I'm just going to say that I have no patience. All right, guys. We've already been live streaming for an hour. Oh, bear with me. My legs just went to sleep. That's where the way I'm sitting. I'm really super excited because on my end, the live stream end, the camera says, well, we have 20 people watching, and that's amazing. That's probably the most that I've had in a while. So the phone that I'm reading the live chat from says 13, and this one says 20. So I'm excited. 20, 13. That's awesome. Well, still a car evil. Steal a car. Hold on a second. I just got a comment on one of my videos, I think. And trying to see which video it's. Oh, okay. They commented, but I guess it's being held back for review. Okay. I get some of these weird comments on my YouTube channel, and I have no idea why I get them. Apparently, there's somebody out there that thinks that they're funny. Yeah, I think on my end, I can see the analytic, whatever. I can't talk tonight. I'm shocked I can read. Because I can see what you guys can't see, because this is, the camera I'm looking at has the actual live feed going on right now. Because the phone that I'm holding says 5, and the live feed says 20, so I don't know. I'm doing fine. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I haven't really said anything, but my health has been kind of off the last couple weeks, and I've not felt really great, but I'm getting through it. I'm fine. No worries. You guys don't need to worry about me. I'm really excited to be back to reading. It's like, it feels like heaven being able to read stories again. I've missed this. And to be honest with you, I think I might actually like live reading them more than I do recording them and putting them up. So, I don't know if you guys like this, the fire in the background, and me reading them live, I could totally do this a whole lot more than trying to put videos up. Okay. I don't know, guys. Do you think we got time for another story? Let's see what I can find. Okay, I'm gonna be out of the chat, so moderators, you're gonna have to pay attention a little more than I can right now. So let's go back and find where I was reading. Okay. I keep losing the site that I'm on, that I'm reading stories from, and I'm like, where did it go? You think by now I'd quit losing it. Is it this one? No. Well, poop. I lost it again. I have this page up that's helping me. There we go. Let's try this one. No, that's not it. Well, great. I really have lost the page this time. I said we were going to have another story. Maybe not. Well, anyway, why I'm sitting here talking about, what are some thoughts that you guys have on stories or, I don't know, guys. Just fill the chat for right now because I've lost my page. I don't know how in the world I seem to lose the page that I was on like every 15 minutes. I always look how they say short. It looks like it's about 40 minutes long to read. Alright, let's try this one. It's called Just a Nightmare. And I've not read this before, so we're in for a treat because I don't know what to expect for this one. So here we go. You awake in a cold sweat from your dream, looking around the dim room with a fright. You didn't remember anything that happened in it, except for a loud bang at the end. But you passed it off as just a nightmare. It had been a recurring nightmare you've had for the past few days now. You slowly arose from your bed, preparing your lunch for the day before heading off to work, stopping at a local store to pick up a little something along the way. As you drove, you reflect on your life before you now. How your life partner had recently passed away from an unknown cancer at such a young age. How your children had recently graduated from college and now were living on their own with a decent paying job and a date as well. You felt happy and proud of them, but you couldn't help but feel a certain feeling inside. It was like a sickness. It was a feeling of despairing emptiness. You went to your small cubicle and started to get to work at your small desk. Your job was a fairly decent one that paid well in the day and age that considering the economy. But it was monotonous. It felt after a while all you were doing was pressing some keys over and over and moving your mouse around to give commands to a rather outdated personal computer. Click, click. You had been repeating these same tasks for the past years and with no raise or any comfort at home to make things better. Realizing that you were all alone now. After a few hours of this miserable process comes lunch. And you know what that meant. You quickly got up. You bring your lunchbox along with you as you moved to where everybody else was eating. Stanley, a coworker and a close friend here, waited for you at the water dispenser. He was wearing his usual work attire, a white shirt over black dress pants, and a small red tie. He greeted you happily as you walked over to him, adjusting his brown glasses. You liked Stanley. He was a pleasure to chat with, at least at first. But the dullness settled in so quickly. The two of you always ended up talking on the same subjects and discussions during every lunch hour. You were afraid to admit it to him, that he was becoming boring, that everything was in fact boring. But you were afraid of how he would react to that, that he just might care too much over to you. You didn't want to shock or surprise him too much. He did, however, speculate that you were becoming increasingly more empty and bitter, but you always assured him that you were fine. He would stop pursuing his questions. After a few minutes of his worthless graduation, what? You set off to eat your lunch for the day. It was always the same thing every day, a ham sandwich with a banana. Sometimes you brought a soda, other times it was mere water bottle. A few years ago, back when your loved one was still roaming the earth, she would sometimes throw something else in there, even if it was just as something as plain and simple as a pickle. You always were you were always delighted over it. It was a break from the same food every day. Nowadays, You didn't even have enough time to throw in a little something extra. But you were always certain that you had quite a surprise for the day. You consumed your sandwich very quickly, without hesitation, with your fruit to follow. Nobody seemed to notice how fast you were eating your food. It was almost too easy, you thought. This is when you usually return to your cubicle to get back to work. But today, you had that little extra. From your bag, you withdrew a small handgun you had just picked up in your last paycheck early that morning. Nobody noticed it for a few seconds before a woman started to scream and pointed at the sight of the revolver. Some of them begged you to stop, reaching out to you. There you were trying to talk to them and not doing this. You barked at them, making empty threats that you could shoot anybody that gets within touching distance. You felt bad about it. You were really a nice and caring person. One of them quickly phoned the police, saying that they were going to get you help. You didn't care. The dullness, the melancholy, the emptiness, it all had to end. You looked at the crowd, Stanley standing over at the front. He pleaded to you, begging you to consider your thoughts and your actions. He offered to help you if you would just listen to him. Without saying a word to him, you opened your mouth. Well, you know what happens. Screams and vision fades. Black. You awake in a cold sweat from your dream, looking around the dim room with a fright. You didn't remember anything that happened in it except for the loud bang at the end. But you passed it off as just a nightmare. It had been a recurring nightmare you've had for the past few days. You slowly arose from your bed, preparing your lunch for the day before you headed off to work, stopping at the local store to pick up a little something along the way. Well, dang, that escalated quickly. Kind of wasn't expecting that. That's also kind of sad. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't realize that was going to be so intense. Wow. What? Behave, Boggs. Behave. Don't give away my secrets, Midnight. Shush. A Skinwalker story. Oh, wow. Okay. Okay, let me see if I can find a Skinwalker story, because I don't know if I had one actually prepared for tonight. I didn't even think about it, guys. I'm sorry. Let's see. Let's see if we got one for you. It's actually, I don't know if you guys realize, it is really hard to find Skinwalker stories. If you guys have any websites, feel free to let me know. Let me see if I can find one. Because I hate to say, a lot of them are either really fake. Alright, I've got a couple here I actually have saved. Do you guys want to hear a Skinwalker story? Or do you want me to stick to the short horror stories? Wow, I went for an hour and 19 minutes. Oh, dang. Let me see if I can do one Skinwalker story tonight. It is true, they don't like to talk about it. Let me see if I can do at least one. Well, let me make sure that it's not like 2 hours long. Alright, we're going to do one. That's something we can add a Skinwalker story to each live stream. So, we'll go ahead and add that in too. Okay. Okay, this is, I found this on Terrifying Experiences of Skinwalkers. It does not have a name to the story. It's just entitled number 1. So we're going to go with it. I've not read this story. I don't know nothing about it. I just had it queued up for the next video I wanted to do. So here we go. Anybody that has been on the Navajo reservation has either probably heard of some creepy things or have experienced pretty creepy things, namely skinwalkers. I have only seen one, and here is my story. I come from a small town in the northern Arizona that's sandwiched between the Paiute Reservation to the north and the U.S.'s largest Navajo reservation to the south. My high school being a small 1A high school that was on average 80 students enrolled every year. Always had to travel south about 5-10 hours one way to play another high school and any sport. This means there was a lot of... I think I've read this before. Hold on. Yes, I've read this before. I'm not reading it again. Sorry. Let's try this one. Sorry. It's entitled Number 2. My father owns a small delivery service that operates out of Farmington. We mostly deliver small packages out to the middle of nowhere that are too much of a hassle for the large delivery companies to bother with. My dad is the only employee, and we have a few pickup trucks and a trailer. One day we get a delivery out in the Window Rock, Arizona, on the Navajo reservation, about 2 hours from Farmington. My dad gets the call for the job while he is chilling with a Navajo friend, Travis, and his girlfriend. Travis mentions how he got family in Window Rock and that he hasn't seen in ages and suggests that he could go with us. It was about 6 or 7 at the... I was about 6 or 7 at the time, and it was summertime. So Dad decided we'd all go and do this as a get-together. He can do his delivery real quick, and then while Travis sees his family, we can go and check out the Window Rock, a big rock face with a large hole in it that goes to the other side. It's kind of pretty cool to see it. We had to convoy in separate trucks since my dad's was loaded down with freight. He decided to bring along some walkie-talkies so we could communicate with one another. We would spend time in Window Rock. Everything is generally uneventful, and we start heading home along the old highway with my dad and I in front and Travis and his girlfriend in the truck behind us. I honestly don't remember most of the Window Rock trip, but the next part, I can never forget. We're somewhere on the highway between Window Rock and Gallup, New Mexico. It had just rained earlier in the day, and the road was kind of slick, so we were taking it pretty slow. On the left of the highway, there was nothing but sandstone cliffs, and on the right was a huge field separating from the road by a small barbed wire fence. We crest to the top of the hill, and down on the bottom of the hill, we see that what appears to be a very large dog sitting back on its haunches in the middle of the road facing the cliffs. My dad calls over the radio, "Hey, Trav, do you see that big butt dog over there?" Travis starts yelling back on the radio, "That's not a dog. Speed up right now and hit it." He sounds almost hysterical. He just keeps screaming, "Hit it, JJ. You have to hit it. Please, please hit that freaking dog." So my dad starts to speed up, and as we get a bit closer, I can begin to see a little more clearly. It's covered in this brown, wiry, matted hair that appears to have dried blood all over it. It's still facing the cliffs, but the moment our headlights hit it, it turns and looks at us and has a face. I don't know how else to describe it other than a mix between a bear's and a human's face. It looks twisted and distorted and almost in pain. As we get closer to the thing, we start to realize it's actually stinking huge. though it was still sitting on its haunches, it's about shoulder high with a hood of the car. Or a hood of the truck. We get literally inches from hitting it when it lets out a scream that sounds like someone screaming at the top of their lungs filled with water and leaps backwards towards the field, landing just on our side of the barbed wire fence. Then with another leap, it was gone from sight. Travis comes over the radio again. Holy crap, just keep driving, don't stop. We have to get out of here. We have to go faster. He kept repeating that last part. We have to get out of here. We have to go faster. Pretty soon we were speeding like crazy, and just as we start to come near the outskirts of Gallup, we get pulled over. Travis pulls his truck over with us. Naturally, this makes the cop, a Navajo man himself, very on edge and immediately asks why Travis felt the need to pull over as well. Travis says, we just saw a skinwalker a few miles back and it's been following us. The officer immediately turns white, stammers something about a verbal warning, gets in his car and takes off. We do the same. We didn't see anything else that night, but when we got home, Travis refused to let us leave without without taking a totem. It was supposed to keep the thing away. So yeah, I guess that's my Skinwalker story. Sorry for the length, but thank you for listening. If any of you guys have had any experiences, I'd love to hear them as well. Alright, there's the Skinwalker story, guys. Talking about Skinwalker stories, I actually have a Skinwalker story. Where I live right now, I've grown up since I've lived here all my life. But back when I moved with No-Nos up to his territory is up on Crow Mountain. And it's legitimately, it is the worst place I've ever seen in my lifetime. It's nothing but woods. The people out there are strange. You can't get a cell phone signal. The power goes out if the wind blows. And one night, we hadn't been living there for very long. And I'm going to point blank be honest with you, since we moved up to that area, I always felt like an uneasy feeling, like I wasn't welcome, like if something was watching me. There was always constant feeling of eyes watching you in the woods. And the house that we lived in was legitimately surrounded on 3 corners by woods. And there was deep woods. And one night, the kids had went to stay at an in-law's house. And it was dark, it was late, and No-Nos decided that he would go pick up the kids instead of me that night. And I walked him out to the garage, and the garage door was open, and we hear this scream. I can't describe the scream. It is one of the most blood-curdling, unhuman-y sounds I have ever heard. And we both froze, because we both had never heard it before, and me being knowing about Wendigos and Skinwalkers, immediately was like, oh my gosh, that's a Skinwalker. And he's like, oh, no, it's probably a panther. And I'm like, dude, we live in Alabama. We don't have panthers, you idiot. And he goes on and on. He's like, it's a panther, it's a grizzly bear. I mean, he just goes on the list of things that possibly might be just as bad as a Skinwalker. And just as we both start to argue about the sound, this thing, and I don't know how to describe it. It was the weirdest thing I'd ever seen. I can't describe it. And you see it, and it just goes darting. And it was humongous. It was humongous. And the way it moved was not normal. It looked like it was on 2 legs. But the way it ran, it was like it was dead and wiggling around. I can't describe it. It was really bad. And the smell that came with it. It was so bad that I turned around and slammed the door and locked the door and was like, you're on your own. Good luck. Godspeed. and I stayed gone because of it. But up there where we lived up in Crow Mountain I lived there for like 4 years. And that was like just one of many experiences I had up there. Actually, at some point, I probably could give you guys a live stream and every once in a while add in some real life experiences from just in 4 years. I have probably a lifetime's worth of stories to tell you from there. So I've had experience with a skinwalker. It was not pleasant. It was scary. And to be honest with you, that sound, I can still hear that sound sometimes when I close my eyes. For a long time, living up there, I couldn't go outside. I couldn't enjoy myself. It was just constant creepy sounds, howls, screams. And the neighbor next door, I now understand now, the neighbor next door would randomly go out and start shooting just all in the woods. And now I kind of wonder if that's not the reason why the redneck neighbor next door decided to shoot like a madman. Because maybe because it came from his area and darted through our yard. So, yeah. We didn't have a gun up there at Crow Mountain because No-Nose might have shot somebody or shot himself, or he was a nut job. But anyway, so we didn't have any guns and we didn't have any weapons. So my biggest thing is good luck and Godspeed, and slammed the door and locked it and went in the house and hid in the living room. So yeah, but that's my story. Like I said, I've got like hundreds of stories from living up there that are not good. Well, they're good to listen to, but they were not good to live through. Let me put it that way. All right, guys, we have been live streaming now. I'm gonna say probably close to 1 hour and 30 minutes. What's primitive, Todd? Where we were living, or our attitudes? What's primitive? Well, anyway, guys, I'm gonna, like I said, I've been live streaming for 1 hour and 30 minutes, I believe now, and I'm really tired. That really, yes, Todd, the place was primitive. It was, you had no cell phone signal, power went out. If the wind blew, the water would just cut off. I think there was a research lab about 10 miles up from where we lived that they dumped random animals up there. Like they dropped off black bears, animals that were not indigenous to that area of Alabama. They dropped off. So we had black bears, brown bears, snakes that were the size of pythons. It was pretty bad. I'm just gonna be honest with you. It was the worst 4 years of my life, and it wasn't just because of the area. So I really don't want to it's hard to talk about living up there because it wasn't just the paranormal stuff. It was physical stuff that happened as well. So, yes, I can hear you guys watching Lion King. I hope I don't get flagged for it in here. But anyway, guys, I really enjoyed this. I hope that you guys loved the stories. I hope that I read them and did them justice for you guys. The next live stream will probably be Friday, but I do have to ask you guys a real quick question before I end this live stream. Are you guys interested in me live streaming more, like what we did tonight? Would you guys be more interested in me live streaming these stories and having like a soothing background in the back? I really would like to start doing, like, you know, Being Scared does scary stories to tell in the rain. I wouldn't mind being able to do like scary stories done by Campfire. At some point we won't have a background like this. We would have an actual fire, but in the wintertime, this is what we're going to have to do because it's just too cold and wet for me to do this outside. But in the summertime, I can probably get you a fire going every time we do this and do it live. Just do stories live, because with my setup, it's hard for me to do videos, but I can do live streams. So if you guys like it like this, I could probably maybe try to do like Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. And, I mean, it won't be like 2 hours. It might be just an hour video or 30 minutes, but it would be something. So, you guys, You don't have to tell me right now. You can leave comments in the, like the actual chat. Not the chat, but just leave actual comments on the video later. Or just hit me up on Twitter and tell me what you guys think. Because I like this. I can talk to you live and read the stories live and we can discuss things. I don't know. And sometimes I get really worked up doing them live because it's the first time I read them and get it all into it. So if you guys like it, just leave me some comments. Like, for example, when this ends, go back and just leave a comment what you're into. Because I could totally do this a whole lot more than regular videos right now. But anyway, guys, I'm not going to talk for any much longer because I can't even form sentences now. I'm getting tired and I'm wore out from a day of work. But I enjoyed this, guys. I enjoyed being with you. I enjoyed reading these stories with you. I enjoy you guys so much. You guys make this so worth it. Guys making me get all teary-eyed, weeping over here. I don't know about that, Boggs. I don't know if I'm going to do scary stories tell while EO armpit farts, but it would make for good entertainment, so maybe in the future, but just not right now. Okay, guys, like I said, I'm going to close this to an end. I'm going to shut up, and I'm going to say good night, sweet dreams, and we have to say it, and as always, I love you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.